you assume that the product you see on the shelf is the same product you buy. Gone are the days when you watch an advert, and because of the content of the commercial, you go into a store, you want to make a decision, you pick that content, the brand, based on just the advertisement. The consumers have changed. They have options. Just as our choices and options are different, so the way we make decisions has also changed. When I started my career many years ago, we were told that the consumer is static. We were told that the hypodermic needle explained the static nature of consumers because consumers had limited choices. Can you imagine that it's possible for you to dream about a product or a brand? Is it possible? I've always asked myself, why do people make the choices they make when they pick certain brands? Brands rise and fall like empires. The battle for the psyche of the target consumers is actually lost, fought, and won at the point of purchase. What determines the decision-making process is top-of-the-mind recall. Top-of-mind recall is that stuff you remember when you want to decide to buy a product or a brand. I tell clients, you own your product. The consumers out there own the brand. Because if they don't make that decision, your product remains in your warehouse. It doesn't go. So why do people make the choices they make when they pick a brand over another one? It is top-of-mind recall. Now, we've got to a stage where consumers are no longer static. They have too much choices. They have too many choices. So the future of branding belongs to those that understand that it's the emotional connection. Why would I pick brand A and not brand B? Why do I make the choices I make? It's based on the emotional. At the point you're making that choice, the producer or the manufacturer is not there. At the point you're deciding, you are going through a turmoil. Do I pick A, B, or C? It's a battle that only you can determine. And it's based on the top-of-mind recall. But what ignites that decision is the emotional connection. The consumers have moved away from the physical attributes of products. It's the intrinsic. So for marketers and productions and producers, we need to shift away from marketing the hard sell. You don't buy a brand new car, you don't go to a car shop to buy a brand new car, you ask, does it have an air conditioning system? It's a given. You don't buy a certain brand based on its promise and you ask, would it take me to my destination within one day? No, those days are over. You're purchasing based on the intrinsic values. What are the intrinsic values? The innate attributes of that product. What satisfaction do you get when you purchase it at the point of contact? Why do you make decisions you make? It's not based on the physical anymore. It's now based on the intrinsic. So why do people choose A from B and not C? In creating your content, in creating your advertising, you must factor in the emotional. The emotional connection is what triggers and ensures at the point of the purchase, they pick your brand. But why do we have products and brands in markets that are now becoming second-level brands and not first-level? Why do brands survive, have a timeline? After 1 year, 2 years, they become the second option. Why do we have brands in the market that were number 2 yesterday and today they're the first option? The same reason, emotional. Once successful as a brand does not guarantee you success forever. You must continuously romance the consumer the way you romance a stone. The consumer has become inanimate because they have a myriad of choices. Today, I pick a product. The promise of that product, there is always a gap. It's either there's an under-promise and over-delivery or over-promise and under-delivery. So the future of branding will be based on the emotional, the intrinsic. Can you imagine dreaming, I'll repeat that question again, that you can dream about a product or a service? I went to a hotel some years ago, and it was just the aroma of the reception the lift, and the room itself. I kept on remembering that smell. Yes, it's possible to brand with smell. We can brand with the sensory. But you see, we have to focus now on investing in understanding the thinking of the consumer. The days of investing in the physical are over. Consumers have moved over to the next level, which is the emotional. And it comes to the question again, why do you buy the products or the brands that you buy? Why do you pick A and not B? Why do you stand for a product and you define the product for a while, and then after a while, you become an advocate of those saying, do not purchase this product? It's the same reason, the emotional. Gone are the days of investing in the physical. It's now the emotional. Thank you.